Hello and welcome everyone. We are live right now. Okay, so welcome back to this amazing platform of Tutee Learning, and we are live right now. So today we will discussing about uh, some of the previous year questions on vector algebra topic, especially questions which have been asked in the JEE Mains previous year paper, right? So this will form you the base of whatever you have understood so far in this particular chapter. Okay, so today we'll try to see and analyze that what were the types of questions that were generally asked in the JEE Mains papers. Okay, and we will try to see that how we can solve those kinds of questions by easily understanding the basics part. So let's start. So as you can see on my screen, the question is live, and you can all give a try. Okay, I hope the question is visible to all of you, right? So please give a try. Okay, this is a very simple question, and I think most of you will be able to solve this question. Okay, so please try to solve this problem and let me know what is the correct answer that you are getting, and then we'll discuss about the solutions. Okay, and another very important thing to note is that we have already finished the chapter of vector algebra, right? So if you are new to this particular platform, then I would request you to please go back and watch all the contents so far taken on the vector algebra topics. Okay, because without watching the basics of vector algebra, you won't be able to solve these kinds of questions. So it is very important to revise this particular ideas of vector algebra, and then you come to solve this question with me, right? So in this lecture we will basically be discussing the previous year solutions, and you will see that most of the questions are very straightforward and way simple. Okay, so if you have studied the basic part clearly, then I think you will be able to solve most of the question in this particular lecture. All right, so let's start with this particular idea. And the first question in our screen is basically saying that we have given with two vectors, as you can see, a vector and b vector, and it is says that there is another c vector which is a unit vector on the plane of ab vector, a and b vector, and is also perpendicular to a vector. So let's try to draw the situation. So if I try to draw the plane over here, it is said that we have two vectors, a vector, and let us say we have another vector, b vector, right? That's what the question denotes. Now, this a vector and b vector are given to us, and it is said that c vector is a unit vector which is lying in the same plane as that of a vector and b vector, but it is perpendicular to the a vector. So c cap is perpendicular to the a vector. So if I try to analyze these conditions, what I can say, when a vector is perpendicular, I just simply take a dot product and equal it to 0, right? So this will be the result for the vector c cap which is perpendicular to this a vector, right? Now also thing to note is that since these three vectors are coplanar, then I will have the scalar tail product to be equal to 0, right? Now from this part, what you can also try to analyze, and if we try to solve this problem, we have studied in the basics of vector algebra that whenever three vectors are coplanar, then the third vector can be written as some linear combination of the first and the second vector. So like this, since c vector is coplanar to a vector and b vector, I can write c vector to be a linear combination of a vector and b vector as follows, right? This is very simple and obvious, right? I hope this is clear. This is very obvious thing, right? So from here, what we can understand. So from here, if we try to, so I should be representing my C cap as, let us say, some linear combination, and let me try to write the linear combination as A plus lambda times of B vector, and then multiply with some constant K just to make this as a unit vector. Now the C cap is perpendicular to A vector, therefore this C cap dot this A vector should be equal to 0. So from this result, I will be able to get my result for the unknowns, that is k and lambda. So if I do that calculation over here, so let us take k times a vector plus lambda times of b vector and take a dot product with a vector, that should be equal to 0. So if I do this dot product, I will be able to get a dot a plus lambda times b dot a, and that should be equal to 0, right? So from here I'll be able to obtain that a dot a should be the magnitude of a, right? So it will be simply the magnitude of a square divided by a dot b vector. So if I do that, so from here I can calculate the magnitude of my a vector to be square root of 1 plus 4 plus 1, and that will be basically square root 6. Alright, so from here I will obtain my value of lambda to be 6 minus 6 divided by, and a dot b can be obtained as, so a dot b, if I perform the result, so this result is going to be 2 plus 2 minus of 1, and that is basically equals to 3, right? So a dot b is equal to 3, so I will put 3 over here, and from this I will get the value of lambda to be equals to minus 2. So therefore I can write this c vector to be something like a vector minus 2 times of b vector, which I can simplify, and this will turn out to be minus 3 I cap plus of 3k cap, right? Now if you remember, we had put a constant or scalar k over here, right? Now this is basically done to make this c vector a unit vector, so the unit vector result will be given by simply dividing it by the magnitude of this vector. So which is basically, so the magnitude of this particular vector is 3 root 2. So if I do this division over here, I'm going to get the result as plus or minus I cap, so minus of I cap plus k cap divided by root 2. This is going to be the final answer. Now why did I put a plus or minus? It's very obvious, because the vector can be either directed in this particular direction, or maybe directed in this particular direction as well. So this basically denotes the plus or minus thing. So I'm trying to represent the generalized result, and if I try to compare with the solution, I will see that option number A matches pretty well with my given result. Okay, so I hope this is clear to all of you. I hope this result is clear. Alright, so this is how we need to solve this basic question. So these kinds of questions are very important, especially if you look into the JEE Mains aspects. Okay, so these kinds of questions are generally being asked in JEE Mains. So please try to understand this particular concept. The basics is very simple, and we have already discussed a lot on these kinds of topics, right? So these are the general ideas that we need to study, especially in the chapter of vector algebra, right? So in order to solve any types of question, what you need to understand is basically get an understanding on the basics of vector algebra. Alright, so if you are good with the basics of vector algebra, I think you will be pretty much able to do all the questions. Okay, so any questions, any confusion, please let me know in the live chat. Okay, so I hope if you have tried to solve this problem, you must be getting the answer as option A. Okay, so option A is going to be the correct answer to this particular problem. Is this part clear to all of you? I hope this part is clear, right? I hope this part is clear. Sudha Shankar, hi. Is this clear to all of you? Are you all able to get the answer? Which part is not clear? Tips to solve maths. The only tip and the only advice that I can give you is that please practice more and more problems. Okay, Sudha Shankar, try to practice more and more problems. Okay, and whenever we are live on this particular platform, try to join this platform, and so that whenever you are we are basically live, you can join us and you can start to solve the problems. Okay, and first of all, also it is very important to have a basic understanding on the basic concepts. Okay, so whenever I'm teaching something from the start, you have to understand that particular thing. Okay, That is my only advice that I can give to you. Okay. And to solve questions, you have to totally rely on practice. So every day what you can do is that you can take 10 questions every day on any other topic that you have already finished and try to solve those questions on daily basis. Okay. So like 10 questions on any particular topic and try to solve them. And also please note that whenever you're solving this question, please try to put a timer so that you can understand that, okay, so you are able to solve in 1 hour span 15 questions or 10 questions. So that will actually help you to understand like how should you prepare, and also how is the preparation going, right? So it will also help you to understand that how much amount of time or duration you should need to give to any particular question. Is NCERT enough to score well in my boards? Yes. If you are from CBSE board, I would say yes. NCERT is the only book that you need to follow for scoring the highest marks. Okay. Which book which you are practicing while your preparation? Uh, See, generally, I didn't refer to any particular book as such. Okay, what I did was basically tried to solve the previous year question, and also I tried to solve like any general question from any general textbook. Okay, so you can take up like textbook like Singage, which I used to prepare. Okay, so Singage would be a very good book. Okay, so there is a book on Singage publication. Okay, so Cengage publication, it is called as JEE Maths. Okay, so that particular book is quite a good book. Okay, for maths, it has like 5 volumes, and the you can purchase all those 5 volumes, and you can try to solve the question after you're done with the theory part. Okay, it would be a quite a good book. Okay, but in my lectures, you will see that I have taken up quite a general question to basically give you an idea on how to solve general types of problems. Okay, so if you just follow to my lecture notes only properly, and then you try to solve the previous year question, I think you will be you will be able to solve the questions. Okay, mostly will be able to solve the question, especially for JEE Mains. But if JEE Advanced is your concern, I would say practice more problems from especially textbooks like Cengage. Okay, so there is no standard book out in the market for JEE Advanced. However, these textbooks can help you to basically grasp that particular idea of solving difficult problems. Okay, I hope this is clear to all of you. So let's try now move to our next problem. Okay, so next problem is on your screen. I hope it is visible. So please try to solve this problem. It's also quite an important problem, and please try to solve this problem. Okay, please try to solve this problem. Okay, it's a quite an interesting problem, and you have to apply some of the results of ratio and proportion in order to solve this problem. Okay, so please try to solve this problem. Sir, is scalar and vector product in syllabus? Yes, it is in syllabus. Yes, it is there in the syllabus. Okay, so please try to understand and try to solve questions regarding it. Okay. Okay, so let's try to see this particular problem now. Okay, so if we try to analyze this particular problem, what we have with us is that you have given two vectors A and B vector such that the value of this ratio, the value of this particular ratio is given as square root 2 plus 1, right? The value of this particular ratio is given as square root 2 plus 1. So if you look at this particular expression over here, the very first thing I try to apply is that I try to apply the rules of componendo and dividendo, right? Componendo, dividendo. So if you try to apply the component and dividend rule, and then you try to simplify, it will be 2 times of mod of a vector plus b vector divided by 2 times of mod of a vector minus b vector, which will come out to be root 2 by root 2 plus 2 divided by root 2, right? And I can cancel out these common terms, and therefore I will obtain a relation that is mod of a vector plus b vector is equals to 1 plus root 2. So I can take this root 2 common, and it will be 1 plus root 2 times the mod of a vector minus b vector times mod of a vector minus b vector. Now if I have this relation over here, I can take a square on both the side. I can take a square on both the side, and then if I try to simplify this resolution, I will get, so it will come out as, so I will have mod of a square plus 2 times of a dot b plus mod of b whole square, that is equals to 1 plus root 2 whole square multiplied with, so this I can also expand 1 plus root 2 whole square, and it's quite simple, 1 plus 2 plus 2 root 2, so that is going to be 3 plus 2 root 2, right? And multiplied with mod of a square minus 2 times of ab, and then plus of mod of b square. So this is what I will obtain, right? So if you try to simplify this relation on both the side, then if you try to simplify this relation just taking this algebra out, okay, so you will try to combine the common terms. So if you try to combine the common terms, you will obtain a simple relation as mod of a square times, so it will come out as 2 root 2, 2 plus 2 root 2, that is equals to 2 times of a dot b times 4 plus 2 root 2, okay, and there will be one 2 over here as well. So then from here I obtained this particular expression that is basically asked as the given ratio, okay. So I will obtain this ratio, that is from here I can write this result, that is mod of a plus mod of b. Oh, so mod of a plus mod of b whole square and divided by mod of a whole square, that will come out to be 2 plus 2 root 2 divided by 4 plus 2 root 2. So which will come out as 1 upon root 2. 1 upon root 2 will be the final result. So from here what you can obtain is that the final result, oh sorry, my bad, it is basically a dot b, right? A dot b whole square, sorry, a dot b only, right? Sorry, so this I got the result as a dot b result, okay, from this relation. So from this relation I got the a dot b divided by mod of a square, so I got this particular relation. Now I need to find this particular result, that is mod of a plus mod of b, sorry, mod of a plus b whole square divided by mod of a square, and that will be coming out as, that can be simplified and written as 1 plus mod of b by mod of a whole square plus 2 times of a dot b divided by mod of a whole square. So if I just simplify and put the values, I will get the result as 2 plus root 2. So the final answer to this problem is going to be equal to option A. Okay, so the answer to this question is also going to be option A. I hope this is clear to all of you. All right, I hope this part is clear. So this is how we need to solve this problem. Okay, it's just, you can see that the question is not a difficult problem, but you don't have to apply like lot of ideas or tricks over here. The only simple thing that you can analyze over here is that you have to carry out this tricky algebra. Okay, it's a tedious algebra which you need to carry out. So once you carry out this algebra, you will get to the final solution. Okay, I hope this is clear to all of you. I hope this part is clear, right? I hope this is clear. Are you all getting the same answer? Yes, Brock's product is a part of the syllabus. Okay, I hope this is clear to all of you, right? So if this part is clear, please try to move to the next problem that is given over here. Okay, so this is our next problem. Please try to solve this problem. Please try to solve this problem. Again, a very simple and straightforward question. Especially in this question, you have to explore the idea of vector equation. Okay, so here the question is asking you to explore the idea of vector equation, and how you try to solve this problem, that is up to you. Okay, so please try to see this question. It's a very simple problem. Just you need to know the trick to solve this kinds of problem. Okay, so please try to solve this problem. Give some time. Please try to give some time and let me know the answer you're getting, and then we'll discuss about the solution. Okay, so try to give some time. It's a very straightforward question. Okay, so if we look at this problem, so let us try to read the problem. So it is said that theta is an angle between two unit vectors a vector and b vector, such that theta is given as sine inverse of square root 65 upon 9, and we have another vector c vector which is defined as 3 times of A cap plus 6 times of B cap plus 9 times of A cap cross B cap. If we have this result with us, what you can analyze is that this vector, this cross product is perpendicular to A vector and B vector. So I know my A vector, A cap and B cap and A cross B, right? So if I need to remove some of the part of the calculation over here, what I can do, a simple way to solve this problem is just to take a dot product with A cap and another take a dot product with B cap. So if you do that, interesting over here is that if you do that dot product with A cap and B cap, you will see that the result will turn out to be 3 times of mod of A cap square plus 6 times of A cap dot B cap, and this particular part, that is 9 times of A cap cross B cap dot A cap, is going to be 0, right? So this part will come vanish away. So I will have the result as this, right? Which I can write C vector dot A cap is equals to 3 times of and 6 multiplied with cosine of theta, right? And this cosine of theta can be calculated as 1 minus sine square theta and square root of it. So this will come out to be, so if you just solve this expression, this will come out to be 1 minus 65 upon 81 and square root of that, and that will come out to be 4 upon 9. So this result is going to be 3 plus 6 multiplied with 4 upon 9, and this is going to be, so 2 and 3, so 8 upon 3. So 3 plus 8 upon 3, and that will be equals to 17 by 3. That will be equals to 17 by 3, right? Now, similar manner, if we perform this C vector dot B cap, I'm going to get the result as 3 times of A unit vector or A cap dot B cap plus 6 times of mod of B cap whole square, and that will come out to be 3 times of 4 upon 9 plus 6, which will turn out to be 4 by 3 plus 6, and that is going to be 22 upon 3. That is going to be 22 upon 3. Right. So from this result, I have obtained the two critical results, that is C vector dot A cap and C vector dot B cap. So if I just substitute over here, and then if I try to solve it, I will get the result. I'll get the result of this final problem. So 9 times of 17 upon 3 minus 3 times of 22 upon 3. So this will give me the final result. So it is going to be 51 minus 22, which is going to come out as 29. Okay. So the result of this question is going to be option number B. Fairly straightforward and very simple problem. Okay. Even if you don't know how to solve this kinds of vector equation problem, it is very straightforward because already is asked in the problem, right? So if you read this problem statement, you have to calculate C vector dot A cap and C vector dot B cap. So you have to calculate this particular expression, right? So if you calculate the expression in this manner, you will see that this particular product will vanish off. Okay, so you don't need to worry about the cross product result as much. All right, is this part clear? Fairly straightforward, right? I know. Okay, so let's now move to the next problem. Which is this is over here. Okay, so please try to solve this problem. Again, very straightforward problem, yet a standard problem. Okay, so you have to prepare this kinds of problem, especially for your examination. So that's why I am basically showing you this problem right now, so that you know what are the basic questions that can be asked up. Okay, so that you have to get very familiar with the basic part. Okay, is this part clear? Is this part clear to all of you? Is this clear to all of you? So please try to solve this problem. Shurya, brother, you're doing great. Keep it up. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Shurya. Okay, so try to solve this problem. And let me know the answer in the live chat. Let me know your answers in the live chat. Okay, so if you try to analyze this problem again, so over here in the problem, we can see that I have my u vector, which is given as this, and my v vector is given as 2 I cap plus j cap minus lambda times of k cap, right? This is what my statement for u and v vector, where lambda is a positive quantity. And it is said that the angle between u vector and v vector, so if I try to get the angle between u vector and v vector, it is given as cosine inverse of root 5 upon 2 root 7, root 5 upon 2 root 7. Okay. Now if we have v vector as v1 vector plus v2 vector, we have v vector as v1 vector plus v2 vector, where v1 is parallel to u and v2 is perpendicular to u. So here you have to understand the concept of projection. So if I have, let us say this is my v vector and this is my u vector. So one of the vector is just a simple projection, okay, which is perpendicular. So let me try to, so let us say this is my u vector, okay, this is my u vector. So this is what this particular part of the projection, and this is theta. This particular part of the projection, this particular vector is given as v1 vector, and this particular part of the vector is given as v2 vector. So we have v1 and v2 vector as follows, and we have to calculate the magnitude of v1 and v2, and then we have to compute this final result. So let's start. So if I first of all, if I try to analyze the result of angle between the vectors, I'm going to use the concept of dot product. So from here, what I can do is that if I do u dot v, that result is going to turn out to be mod of u mod of v times of cosine of theta, and this cosine theta value is known to me. So if I do this u dot v, because I know the component of the vectors, it will come out to be 6 minus 1. It is come out to be 6 minus 1, that is 5, right? And this is equals to, so on the, it will be square root 10 and then square root 5 plus lambda square, square root 5 plus lambda square times the angle between the vector, that is root 5 by 2 root 7. So if I evaluate this particular expression, over here, that is 5 and this root 10, and we have another root 5 over here, right? So this part I can combine and I can simplify, and the result will come out to be 1 is equals to square root 2 multiplied with square root of 5 plus lambda square, multiplied with 1 upon 2 root 7, 1 upon 2 root 7, right? So if I just again simplify or take a square on both this side and try to simplify, the result will come out to be 14 is equals to 5 plus lambda square. 14 is equals to 5 plus lambda square. So from here I will get lambda square is equal to 9 and lambda will be coming out as 3, because it is mentioned in the problem that lambda should be taken as the positive value. So lambda is positive. So I got the value of lambda from here. Now in order to find the projection vector, what I can do is that I can try to find out the unit vector along this u direction. So the unit vector along u direction would be given as 3I cap minus j cap divided by square root 10. And then v1, this value can be obtained by first of all finding the magnitude, this particular magnitude, which is mod of v times cosine theta. So this particular magnitude will be mod of v times cosine of theta, which is very straightforward. So my lambda square, so it is going to be 14 root 14 times root 5 upon 2 root 7, and if we evaluate this results will be root 10. So this result is going to be root 10. So therefore my v1 vector, what I obtain is simply unit vector itself. Okay, so just multiply with the unit vector along u direction, because v1 vector can be given as the mod of v vector multiplied with u cap, oh, and a cosine theta, right? And a cosine of theta multiplied with u cap, Alright, so from here I have obtained v1 vector. Now v2 vector can again simply be obtained by using the triangle of vector addition. It can be given as v vector minus my v1 vector, right? Alright, so if I do that, I will obtain my v2 vector. As I cap by 2 plus 3 j cap by 2 minus 3k cap, right? And then I have obtained my v1 vector and I have also obtained my v2 vector. So I obtained two of my vector components, right? So from here, if I try to find out the magnitude of v1 vector square and add with the v2 vector magnitude square, I will obtain the result to be equal to 14. So please try to carry out this result and you will see the answer is coming out to be 14. Okay, so with this, the final answer to this problem is going to be option number D. I hope you are able to solve this problem and the answer to be D. Okay. Is this clear to all of you? Is this part clear? Is this part clear to you? Are you all able to get to this answer as option D? Okay. So very straightforward problem. Just you have to carry out the algebra step by step and you will be able to solve the problem. So with this part, let's move to the last problem, and this is my last problem. So if you look at this problem again, it is also a very straightforward problem which you can try to solve it in the similar manner. So it's a very straightforward problem. I'm just giving you the hint and I want you to solve it by yourself and let me know the answers in the comment section. Okay, so over here, if you look at the expression, I can expand this expression and write it as a cross b minus c cross b, and that is given to be the following vector over here, right? And also we have the information of a dot c vector, which is given to be 3, right? And another result is given as b cross c is given as a d vector, right? So to find out the value of a dot d and take a mod of it, okay? So that is what is asked in the problem. Now in order to solve this problem, what you can do is that, so if I expand my relation, that is a cross b minus my c cross b result, that is given as minus of 18 I cap minus of 18 I cap minus 3j cap plus 12k cap. So and also we know that d vector is basically b cross c, so I can simplify this expression and write as a cross b plus of d vector. Why this plus? Because if I switch the position of a and b, then the result is a minus of it, right? So the minus and minus will become plus, and that is given as minus of 18 I cap minus 3j cap plus 12k cap as follows. Now if I do the dot product, now the interesting part comes over here. You have to find out a dot b. So if I just take a dot product with this entire relation, a dot with this relation, then this particular result will vanish. So if I take a dot with this entire relation, this particular result of a cross b is going to vanish because a cross b is perpendicular to a vector. So I'm going to get the result of a dot b, and that will turn out to be minus of 15. Okay, so the mod of this particular value is going to be equal to just 15. Very straightforward, simple problem. Very simple problem. Okay, just have to follow what is basically mentioned as the given algebra. So with this, we come to the end, and the answer to this question is again going to be option A. So we have solved the basic JEE Mains previous year questions in today's lecture, and in the upcoming lecture that we're going to see tomorrow, we're going to solve some more problems on vector algebra, and we're going to see that how you can try to understand this particular idea and try to apply it to the next chapter, that is going to be 3D geometry. So with this, I thank you all for joining the session and I wish you all the best for your preparation. Okay, and please don't forget to subscribe the channel and also hit the like button so that it helps us to motivate to bring out better content. Okay, and also share these videos among your friends, your relatives, as well as your juniors. Okay, so that they also know that there is a channel which is trying to help students to prepare for their upcoming JEE Mains and advanced examination. So with this, thank you, and we see you again tomorrow.